This is a field test without testing it before.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Right there, right? This is right? Yep. Let's check the focus. Camera rolling. Audio rolling, yeah. Well, it all started with a filter test and the Insta360 Luna. I went out without any testing before because I wanted to test this. Weather was okay, a little bit cloudy maybe, a little bit more sun would have helped. And then, well, it all changed when I opened the footage in my edit bay. Yesterday I was filming a filter test and I used the ND64 with the manual exposure, had the ISO on 100 and set the shutter to auto. But something went wrong. It was underexposed. The picture looks really bad. Right, so I'm out here for a quick photo shoot for this mirror behind me. I brought my Luna with me to test the filters I got from Freewell, like the ND64 I have on right now. Shadow issues, lots of noise, and overall not really a pleasant picture. I think the ND64 might be a little bit too much for the auto exposure to handle it. And 4K 50. 4K 25 was a bit better. Okay, 4K 25 now. I forgot to test the CLP filter. I have to go back now. Alright, well, yeah, it's still a bit tricky. I'm not on a beta firmware yet. Now I'm on the ND32, have the overexposure set to 0.7, ISO 400, because in some tests of other YouTubers, the ISO 400 seems to be a bit better in terms of highlight recovery when you overexpose. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. The manual exposure is still a mystery for this camera. And again, face priority as well. So I will have to do the test that I did on yesterday, again, but I really wanted to see if this changes anything. Right, so the second test was also not really that good. Lots of shadow noise here in those doors and stuff like that. So exposure overall was better, but really not that good. So now I have ND32 on. I have the settings to full auto, no EV plus or whatever. Just pure auto settings. Not quite sure if the shutter speed now is really that reduced or if the ISO gets pushed. Maybe the firmware, the beta firmware will fix this. But the shadows are much too noisy. They really look bad. So now I have the ND16 on. ISO is 100. Shutter is auto. No EV. It's 4K 50. So same setting. ISO 100. Auto shutter. ND16. But now I have 4K 25. So maybe that is something. The processing of the noise reduction or whatever. 4K 50, ND16. Now I have the ISO on 400, auto shutter, and the exposure is on overexposing by 0.3. So maybe that is better? Not quite sure. I might have to wait for the firmware update to fix this, because that might change the ISO performance. Some other tests show that the ISO 400 performs better after the beta firmware update. Right, so now I have the same settings, 4K 50 the ND16 is on, ISO 400, auto shutter, and the EV is at 0, 4K 50. And face priority is also on. Let's switch that off. Maybe that helps. Okay, face priority is off, but I had the issue in the first test I did that my face was too dark and too noisy. I couldn't use that. 4K 50, ND16 on, ISO 400, shutter is on auto, face priority is off, and I have it on EV plus 0.3. So maybe that helps. Not quite sure. It's a tricky situation. Why should I use the ND filter anyways? Well, to reduce the shutter speed, to have a little bit more motion blur, which can be helpful on those small sensor action cameras, which this is, to have a little bit more cinematic feel. Lots of testing today. Even that footage was a bit tricky to use. And I think it's the 4K 50. There might be some noise reduction going on in 4K 25 to clean up those shadows here. And if I switch to 4K 50, I think the noise reduction doesn't work because of the higher frame rate. It can't really process that noise reduction because it would mess up the whole thing. Because no matter what ISO setting I have, as soon as I switch to 4K 50, those shadows, even in my face, when I move around, I have my face in the shadow here, this gets noisy, and the trees in the background and stuff like that. So it's not really usable. So now I have it on ISO 100, auto shutter, ND16, and I have it on 4K 25. I switch to 4K 50 and everything will change. 4K 50 now. This might be a little bit too noisy. Shadows, trees over there. Didn't change any settings. Too many factors going on. But I think in the other mode, in 4K 25, there is noise reduction that cleans up those shadows. They look fine. But in 4K 50, it just can't. Not quite sure. Let me switch to full auto in 4K 50. This is now 4K 50 full auto with the ND16 on. Tricky. So right now, we really don't have too many options. I mean, you can use your ND filters, but we really also need something to judge the exposure if you set it manually. There is no levels, there is no EV meter, nothing. I mean, on the phone there's a histogram there, but it's really hard to tell what is what. But now it seems a little bit dark. I have it on full auto though. So it's really tricky. And the idea is that you don't have to use your phone. And you can't really judge the exposure on this little screen right there. I saw there is like a LUT option in the newer firmware, the beta firmware that comes out at some point, that has like a Rec 709 look on there. So you can kind of see how your final picture will look like. But still, a little EV meter should be fine, just like on those mirrorless cameras there. And you can set your exposure manually better. Anyways, that's it. That was my little Netflix intro and outro interview situation. Not really the video I wanted to make, but yeah. Also, I'm testing the iFootage slider right there. There will be a video about that as well. Until this firmware isn't fixed, I will not do a full ND filter or filter test with those Freewell filters, so you have to stay tuned until the firmware fixes this little issue and see how this turns out. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Back to work. That's it. Out of here. Oh, my phone. Bye. Bye.